So continuing on, cutting the rusty bits out, patching up the outside of that corner, and then I'll put that top piece back in, and then the flat right across. So yeah, a lot of little patches going on, but it's all steel. I've got the top bit out of the donor sorted out for that bit. That pit will just go in there once I work out what size I'm going to do it to. I'll clean it all up, should be right. Coming along. Okay, so I've rebuilt that back section of the cab on the interior side, and now I'm just about to cut the last, well, I don't know, 150 mil out, and replace it with new. I'll sand off the inside of those repairs, and that's where we're concentrating on. Okay, there she goes. It's not too bad in there. So I'll just clean up the inside of those welds. Got to be welded while they're only tacked. So fully weld them. Clean all the back of this up, which is actually not too bad, and put some new steel in there. I'm continuing to work on the rear section of the cab. I want to get all this totally fixed up, rust free, boxed all back in, put the rear cabin mounts back in, and that'll give some structure back to the cab, because at the moment it's a little bit flimsy. So all I've got to do now is just put that new piece of floor in along the back. I need to find some 1.5 mil. The floor's a little bit thicker than everything else, I believe. I've got some 1.2 mil, so I'm going to get some 1.5 and put back in there. In the meantime, I've prepared all the pieces to go back in. We're working through them. This piece is all good now. Like I said before, I cut the one out of the donor, but it was worse than that. So I've got to fix up these little corner bits there a little bit. Second hand, the one over there as well. I've got the ones out of the donor, but not much better. So if not worse. The good thing about these ones, because they've all been stripped, they're all nice and clean. So I'll just put a new bottom in that. Put that back in. Same with this one. It just needs a new bottom in it as well. That'll give that whole back structure some strength. So I've been welding up some random holes in the floor. They were from the straps, because this had dual tanks before. So I'm not really going to run with them again. And a bit of rust here. I'll cut that section out. I'm going to put a piece of the donor in. It's not brand new, but it has got some light pitting. But it'll be fine. I'll treat it all. Get that back in there. So that means the whole rear section of the floor, anyway, from that center cross member back, will be all good. And then I think then I'm going to work on this top section here. Cut the bit out of the donor and put that in. Then the hole from the door, back of the door's back, will be fixed, and then get onto the floor. I've been doing a few little rust repairs around the rest of the body, just filling up little holes and stuff. Just put a copper backing in and make them up if they're just little holes. They're isolated. So it's coming along, but a little ways to go. So just started peeling the driver's side floor out of the donor and drill the spot welds out of that reinforcing section across the middle there. Don't need to do too much with the edge here, there's sort of nothing holding it in. And I cut that whole floor section out, driver's side where the feet go, repair it all on the bench, same as Arthur, and then put it back in. I've already pulled that section out and repaired a few dents in it. It's in the molasses bath actually, just getting any surface rust off. It's just easier than wire brushing it. Comes back like new. So that's the deal. I'm still waiting with the cab. Cab's all looking good. I'm still waiting. I've got to get some 1.5mm flooring steel. But that's all that back section I've repaired. I just tack screwed that in. I've done a few little repairs on the floor. I think I've seen that before. So I've got all the tool bag brackets, the jack bracket all ready to go back in, but I'll just do the floor first. I repaired those little corner sections. The bottoms of those are rusted out. So they're just sitting in there. I repaired the chassis mounts you saw before over there on the bench. So I'll get the 1.5mm, make up that little flange to weld on the floor and then move forward. So I'm just getting this out while I'm waiting the floor out of the donor, while I'm waiting to for the 1.5mm so I can keep moving forward. All good. Continuing to drill out all the spot welds from this floor reinforcing piece. I expect in there to be some sort of a time capsule when I unearth it, so it's quite exciting. Alright, so off she comes. That's amazing. I don't know how they did that. Oh, one bit of rust under there. A spider's nest. Oh, that's cool. Well, that gives me some good hope for the 67 chassis. I think it's a 67. A little bit of dirt in there, but not much. More spiders. Okay, all good. Let's get the floor out of it. Cab's upside down, so it's going to be really hard to make out, but that's the floor. That's that rear section I've been working on. That's all welded in, all tacked in. I've come along the top of all cold gal, commonly known as weld through primer in my world. So I've cold gal that whole box section, filled all the seams in there. And now I've got hold of my 1.5mm plate, it's bought a little piece of scrap for 20 bucks. We'll do the whole back, another piece over there. So got that tacked in, so I've got to make this double piece there to match up with the floor. So I've got this piece cut in, got it all radiused off in there. So I'm going to tack that, I ought to make the flange, but that's alright. I'll tack that flange in, chop it off to length here. Sand it all back, put it back in, butt weld the two floors together, and then I think while I'm doing it, I'll just use my spot weld remover and drill a hole through there and plug weld it up back to that vertical plate, and that will be that rear box section totally complete, rust proofed and rust free. We'll move along to the next section. I think I'm going to work on the floors after this. So drill them out and hack them off. I'll clean up all right. That's one. Now for the other one. And number two is out as well. A little bit more difficult than the other one. Couldn't get the drill in. Anyway, they'll clean up. So I welded up all the holes made from the spot weld removing hole saw thingamajig. This is the one I drilled, so I had to weld the holes up. This is the one that I just butchered off, which arguably sort of, I don't have to weld up the holes, but I did have to straighten out. They'll be right. So it's all the process of getting them ready to put back in. So I've cleaned them up. The flap disc, flattened all my welds out, or blended the welds in from the holes. Actually, this is the one I hacked off. But they're pretty pitted. The thing is with these, if you try and grind all the pits out, you'll be left with nothing. I think this might be 2.5 mil. Yeah, it's not 3, 2.5. So this one's a lot better. This was the, what was this? This was the passenger side one on the donor. It's cleaned up okay, but it's still got the pits in it, which I guess is just a place for rust to start again. POR and KB15, no, POR 15 and KBS, their theory is that if you encapsulate all the rust, like no air gets in, no moisture, that stops it, and it's probably right. That would have been written by an advertising executive. So what they write is always good for selling a product. I don't know. A smart man would have put these in the molasses or vinegar and got all that out. I've got some metal ready which POR sell. It's like a preparation for the paint. It's a little bit more acidic than the vinegar or the molasses, so I might put them in there. Probably only take an hour or two maybe. Just soak them and just put, I won't use all the stuff, just soak it in the whole bottle and put it back out. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. Righto, at last, ready to weld in the first section. It's all prepared, all the plug holes are made for plug welding. Cleaned up my reinforcement plate. I'll put that in underneath, weld that first, grind it all off, set this one in, and then put the bracket back on. I measured all this to settle those holes out. Got the center line of the body. I had my measurements from before written up there. I just used the laser. I got the thing perfectly level. Just ran a center line straight up the back and straight across the front there. Got the measurements, marked them all out, so it should be right. It's a bit of give and take, but they'll be spot on. So at last, I'm up to the easy part, welding it all in. Just bolted it up to locate the holes. Plug weld it through before I put it in. So that's the that reinforcing bracket welded on. Just with plug welds. It took me a while to work out a happy medium with these. The hole I used for the plug weld is about 7 mil. The spot weld hole might be 12. It's too big really for plug welding. Well, you just don't need it. You can see there's a bit of heat deformity on the back of that plate, so it's getting through. That's fitting in really well. But these are sort of, it's a bit easier with this metal. This is 1.5. It's new, and the that backing plate or reinforcement there, although it's like got a bit of rust and stuff, it is a known quantity. It's not so bad. You can't do the plug welds like that or with any uniformity in the rusted metal. It's just it's thin and thick, and it's just too hard. But in these you can get a really good result. That's I'm really happy with that. Anyway, we'll carry on and get that panel in. Right, I got the driver's side mount on, rust repair plate in. Looking good, pretty happy with that. Certainly a lot stronger than before. I think last time when I pulled the passenger side bracket off, it came off in 3 pieces. So now I'm ready for this one. It's all prepped, ready for the plug welds. Same deal. Got the reinforcing plate back on. That's the reinforcing plate that was really rusty. It's still pitted, but the rust, because I've soaked it in the metal prep, the rust has gone out of it. I'll treat it all once it's in. That's in a cavity there. I'll use that, what's it called? the Eastwood stop rust that goes inside the frame with a long piece of spaghetti. So I'll be able to stick it in the big holes in there, the mounting bolts holes, and fill that hole. I cold galled that before, and when it's upside down, filled all these the voids in there. They're chocker full. So when I flip it up the right way up, I'll do the Eastwood chassis coater, and that'll all run in down the bottom, and yeah, I think it will be pretty well sealed. I'm going to do all the voids in the cab with that inside chassis coater stuff. This stuff here, internal frame coating. Stick that on the inside of it. So yeah, coming along really well. It's good to have this section, it will be, back together. At least give it one strong structural section to the cab. Then I'll move forward on the floors. I'm going to do all these little side sections, both sides, just like all this, the centre parts. I've done all those little repairs in there. So do those little side sections and then cut each front floor section out one at a time. So I don't want to lose the structural integrity of the cab. I'll put some more bracing in and weld those. And I've got a section out of the old donor. It's soaking in the molasses to get, it's pitted as well, but I'll get all the rust out of it. It's the driver's side one, so that one, the worst one. Because I've got that, I don't know if you call it a torque box, but that torque box section out of there already. So I'll continue on with this side when I get to the front sections. I've got a front section, this I repaired from the donor, because this one's pretty smashed up. It's got an extra hole in there that I don't really need. It's got an extra hole for the dipper switch that someone's drilled. So I might cut that all out and put the new one in. It's in the molasses as well, but it's a good clean, relatively good clean section. It's got a little bit of rust here like that, but I'll just weld in a new 1.5mm section. And that'll be it. So it's probably taken me a month of odds and end hours to do that back little bit, but I'm really happy with the result. I had to repair these quarters as well, put 2 patches in them, or rear corner sections on the cab. I ain't no panel beater, but there's no rust, it's all steel. All complete from underneath. I've got the brackets back in. Looks good, come up nice. So that part of it is over. And the view from the top side. All done, rust free. Probably should epoxy primer it, but I think I'll just keep going.